This conference will now be recorded.
SDLC process. You got clarity like what is SDLC, what stages we have in SDLC, what are the different types of SDLCs we have in the market, and what is the purpose of going with the sequential models, and what the purpose of going with the incremental models or iterative models, right? And today, let us discuss about agile process. Let's see how agile is followed and what the different types of methodologies we have in agile, how to implement agile and all that one by one. So agile is also one of the process. Don't think differently. It's also one of the process for developing the software. Nowadays, most of the companies and most of the clients are preferring to go with the agile compared to SDLCs. Why not SDLC? Why only agile process? What the reason? Look at that. When I talk about waterfalls model, the stages we have in waterfalls model, like say we go for requirement analysis, and next to that, next phase. That means I told you we cannot go to next phase until unless we have done the previous phase. That's what happens in waterfalls. Then we go for a designing phase. After completion of completed designing, then we go for a developing. After developing only we go for a testing. After testing only we go for maintenance. This is the actual process followed in waterfalls, right? But what are the waterfalls? See, the waterfalls, once we get in, you cannot come back again, right? There's no reverse going, no way of going reverse. That's what they gave title waterfalls. Step by step we follow. But here, when you look up the key points in waterfalls model, as we discuss, because even agile is also come from waterfalls. So that waterfalls model is basically used for the project which is small and there are no uncertain requirements. Yes. In this, each phase must be completed fully before next phase can begin. At end of each phase, a review takes place to determine if the project is on the right path and whether or not to continue or discard the project. At the same time, in this model, software testing starts only after the development is completed. We start our testing a project only after completion of developing the project. At the same time, what advantage we have with the waterfalls model is we have some few advantages and disadvantages also. Waterfalls model works well for smaller projects where requirements are well understood. This model is simple and easy to understand and use. Disadvantage is once application is in testing stage, it is very difficult to go back and change something that was not well thought out in the concept stage. Concept stage means initial stage. Again, we have to go for one more life cycle. And not a good model for complex, and it's poor model for long projects. This is the drawbacks we have in this one. But what is agile? No working software is produced until late during life cycle. No working software is produced until late during life cycle. Until we complete testing, until it may take 10 months or 5 months or whatever. Nobody knows what is happening in the software. That's a drawback we have in the waterfalls. But what is agile model? Agile software development. That's what I'm telling. Agile is also for software development. Methodology is in a process for developing software. In agile, English means agile is not English word. English meaning of English is ability to move quickly and easily and responding readily to change. You have to move like rugby game. It's like simple to rugby game. Cricket game is SDLC. Rugby game is agile. Why? Because step by step we have to play in the cricket game. But here all together we have to play in that to fix the time in rugby. right? That's what. Agile is a collection of software development methodology which works on iterative and incremental methods building the software for from the very initiation of the project. So agile is not for sequential models. Agile is for iterative and incremental models. From starting from initial stage onwards, we can go on developing the software. At the same time, if you look at the agile overview and SDLC overview, look at that. See, in waterfalls model, a project can take several months or years to complete, and the customer may not get to see the end product until completion of the project. Am I right? If you go with the waterfalls model. Whereas in agile project, we can see the working product in a shorter period, and it can take any new requirements or enhancement at any stage. At any stage, any clients are requesting to make some changes, we are ready to modify. That flexibility we have. Agile works by breaking down the project into smaller chunks, means some smaller modules, and then continuously delivering the product in a short period of time. So when you take one project in a waterfalls model, we have to go on developing the whole software. But in agile, it is not required. We can break down the project into smaller modules and continuously, excuse me, and continuously we go on delivering the product to customer. In short, how long customer in agile, as per agile rules, weekly once or weekly every second 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, not beyond 4 weeks. Should not go beyond 4 weeks. That's the rule in agile. Incremental iterative delivery. Look at that. Iterative means what? What's the meaning of iterative? Iterative allows you to move from blurred, unclear idea to realization, going from rough to polished. Iterative. First one, we are providing this one to customer. Every version, what is happening? Finally, we are going to work until you get actual requirements done in his software. Iterative, step by step, version to version, we can go on. Number of cycles we can go on releasing to customer. What is incremental? Incrementing is what? Incrementing is more about delivery. First, we deliver some part of it. Next, we go on delivering some part of it. Next, we go on delivering some part of it. And finally, we are going to get the finished work to the customer. Means according to market, we go on developing to customer. That's a good advantage we have. In SDLCs, we have to gather the complete requirements at a time, and we need to develop and we have to release to customer. Here not required. Step by step, version to version, we can go on releasing to customer. That's what happens in this. That's the meaning of incremental and iterative delivery. If we take example of agile methodology to SDLC, let us just prepare one. See, for example, my QAG is planning to prepare one competitive product called MS Excel that provides all features which is provided by MS Office or MS Excel, and we are requesting by the marketing. Okay, so the final product need to be ready in 10 months of time. I want complete in 10 months. Let's see how we can execute this in SDLCs and how we execute in Agile. I'm taking the example here. So, okay, let us see how we execute this in Agile, how we execute in traditional methods, means SDLC methods. If I take SDLC, look at that. Suppose I'm developing by using SDLC, assume that. At high level, the project team would spend 15% of their time on gathering requirements, analyze also. Like 1.5 months you are spending on that. Going to customer, sitting with the customer, gathering his business requirements, understanding his business requirements, developing SRS, right? Lot of things. 1.5 months they'll take time. Again, 20% of time will be done on designing again. Again, you are taking 2 months of time again for that. 40% of coding will be done. 4 months again, developer taking for unit testing and all that. 20% on system and integration testing. Almost 2 months again you are spending. Integration plus system testing. At end of the cycle, the project may also have 2 weeks of UAT, user accept testing by marketing team. So that means in this approach, the customer does not get to see the end product until the end of the project, when it becomes too late to make significant changes. After 10 months, if you calculate, it takes nearly 10 months of time. If you plan, see, if you plan on January, if you plan on January by using SDLC, we are releasing on October. Almost one year you are taking. 10 months, assume 10 months you are taking. In that 10 months of time, anything may happen in the market, who knows? Lot of new things might have come in the market, who knows? So the customer doesn't know until we release the product, until you start working on it. You don't know what to make changes and all that, right? But if you consider agile process, agile is entirely different. It's the same project if you take an agile. In agile methodology, each project is broken up into several iterations. Iterations in the sense, number of cycles. All iterations should be of the same time duration between 1 to 4 weeks. Suppose I'm dividing into 10 iterations, January to October, assume that. Every iteration, it can be 1 week to 4 weeks. It should not go beyond 4 weeks. That means, what does it mean? Every 1 week to 4 weeks, we should be in a position of delivering one working product to customer. So, at end of each iteration, a working product should be delivered to customer. In 1 month of time, what we can do in SDLC? Nothing, right? Even SRS also will not get ready. Don't expect any documentations in Agile. Okay. So rather than spending 1.5 months on requirements gathering, in Agile software development, the team will decide the basic core features that are required in the product and decide which of these features can be developed in the first iteration. Yes, when customer is given us requirements, among that requirements, try to identify what are basic. Basic means what are major important functionalities we have. Go and develop those features. What exactly customer required? Suppose if you take a Flipkart.com or Amazon.com or online applications, weekly ones they want some updations compulsory to attract the customers. Go and develop only for that week. Don't select up to 10 months and down. No, take for that week and develop and release to market. So that situation, this Agile is important compared to SDLC. Here, in Agile model, it will be any remaining features that cannot be delivered in first iteration. Already you planned 10 requirements in first iteration. Assume that you planned 10 requirements. Features means modules. Will be taken up in next iteration or subsequent iterations based on priority. We can postpone them. No need to worry. If anything is left over, no need to postpone that delivery to customer. Deliver to customer. Postpone that to next version. Develop them in next version and release to customer. That flexibility we have. At the end of first iteration, the team will deliver a working software with the features that are finalized for that iteration. What are we finalized for the iteration should deliver to the customer. That means this approach allows the customer to interact and work with functioning software at the end of each iteration and provide feedback on it. Communication. Lot of Agile means good communications required here. Very, very important is communication. This approach allows team to take up changes more easily and make course correction if needed. Yes, we can take any time. At any time, we can take the request what our clients are requesting. In Agile approach, software is developed and released incrementally in the iterations. Okay. In the Agile approach, software is developed and released incrementally in the iterations. Incrementally, step by step, piece to piece, we go on releasing to customer. So that flexibility we have in Agile compared to SDLCs. At the same time, if we schedule like this in Agile, January, same waterfalls again. We'll plan for one iteration, second iteration, third iteration, we'll plan like that. What are you planned already? We have to go according and we have to go on developing the software. In agile process, how you get requirements? No SRS. Remember that. We give them in Excel sheet like this. We provide that requirements. Here we call stories generally. We call stories here. We provide stories in Excel. You have to go through the stories and you have to design the test cases. Developer will develop. We don't want to worry about develop. He'll do his business. We'll do our business. So that's what. Agile is entirely different compared to SDLC. That's what. No here, no SRS, no BRS, no FRS, no documentation here, first of all. Why documentation nowadays here? Nowadays? Because even if you don't give documentation, customer will not face any problem nowadays. Why? Because everything is online. If you purchase any new product in the market, any new mobile, even they don't give help documentation to you. One manual book they'll be providing. Even if they don't give manual book, we don't worry. Why? Because everything is online. We can search them in online. No issue at all. Right? So that flexibility we have. And see here, they'll ask you, what are the methodologies we have in Agile? Like in SDLC, we have waterfalls model, V model, incremental model, okay? A prototype model, RAD model, spiral model. So in Agile also we have different methodologies, which comes under one umbrella. Like see, extreme programming, one methodology, XP, extreme programming, DSDM, dynamic system development method, dynamic system development method, Kanban, Scrum, Crystal, FDD, feature driven development, Lean. So all the methodologies. Among all these methodologies, Scrum is very, very important. Most of the market, most of the softwares are developed based on Scrum methodology. Most of the market going on Scrum. What is that Scrum? How Scrum is used? Okay. Now we should focus more on Scrum here. That's what. Here I am discussing Scrum with Scrum framework. Before that, look at the Scrum. What exactly Scrum is? If I talk in Scrum 100 words, Scrum is one of the agile process. It comes from agile only, right? Which allows you to focus on delivering highest business values in the shortest time. That's what we are able to do in Scrum. Give me your project. We are able to deliver highest business values in shortest time. Scrum allows us to rapidly means speedily, and repeatedly, number of times, inspect actual working software every 2 weeks to 1 month. That's what we want. And one more good advantage in Agile Scrum is business sets the priorities. None of our business. The customer himself, he will set his business. What the priorities, what priorities we should develop for the version, for the iteration. Here, what kind of team we required in Agile means team self-organize. You should work on your own. That is very important. Self-organizing team. So the business set by the priorities already set by some people, and you guys have to organize ourselves. So team self-organize to determine the best way to deliver highest priority features. Every 2 weeks to 1 month, anyone can see real working software, and also he can decide whether to release it or we continue to enhance it for another sprint. Look at here, sprint. What is a sprint? Remember, sprint here we call sprints. Sprint is nothing but iteration only. But what is sprint means? A sprint is nothing but having a life cycle, having a lifespan for 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Every sprint will have either 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks, means 1 month. They'll plan accordingly. So that is what we call sprint here. Sprint or iteration, both are cycle also we call. Okay, but where Scrum is used, what type of companies used by Scrum? Means different companies, Microsoft company, Yahoo, Google, Electronic Arts, iMoon Studios, Philips company, Siemens, Nokia, Capital One, BBC, Intuit, Nielsen Media, First American Real Estate, BMC Software. Lot of this is old report. This is old report which I have. Now recently we have maximum companies are going with Agile Scrum. And to whatever products we can use Scrum, to whatever projects we can use Scrum and see. We can use Scrum for commercial software development, commercials, in-house development applications, contract development applications, fixed priced projects, financial applications, ISO 9001 certified applications, embedded applications, embedded systems, 24 into 7, joint strike fighter, video games development, video games, FDA approved life critical system applications, satellites control, NASA people also, websites, developing websites, handheld software, mobile phone develop, even mobile companies also going with Agile, network applications, ISV applications, largest applications in use also. So I thought with this we came to know 80% of market is running on Scrum. We can get into because all of them are commercials here, products, competition. So in that situation, Scrum is very useful for us basically. Here, look at the framework. I'll come across all these points. Look at the framework of Scrum. How Scrum works means the three things we have: roles, ceremonies, artifacts. These three are very important. This is Scrum framework. Roles: product owner, Scrum master, Scrum team. Roles. These three members. What I said: product owner, Scrum master, team. These fellows are responsible for successful of the project or failure of the project. Ceremonies: sprint planning meeting. Mean nothing but their meetings. These are the meetings we follow in Scrum. Sprint planning meeting, sprint review meetings, sprint retrospective meeting, daily Scrum meetings. Artifacts: what are the documentation we like? See, product backlogs we have, sprint backlog, and burn down charts. It's a transparency here. If you go, once we start writing test case in Jira class, I'll show Agile process only using Agile. There we can get all the charts and all this product backlog and all that. Okay. So what is this Scrum? How Scrum works means, see, look at the simple diagram which I written here. As I said already, first we have to get product backlog. What is a product to backlog? Backlog means leftover. Product backlogs are nothing but collection of user stories. Here we call stories. Okay, here we call stories. It's a collection of user stories. See that we are collecting the stories. From whom we are collecting the stories means we are collecting it from customer, and we are prioritizing them here. We are prioritizing which is 1, 2, 3, 4. This 1 to 5 items are one priority. 6 and 7 other priority. So we prioritize which is to be done first, which is to be done next, which is to be done third, which is to be done fourth, vagara. So it is a collection of user stories. And from this product backlog, we go with sprint backlog. The first meeting we conduct in Scrum is sprint planning meeting. Who is responsible? I'll tell you. In this plan meeting, we collect the requirements from this product backlog. We convert that first priority into first sprint. Means backlog means what? Collection. Items. Item 1, item 2, item 3. Item means nothing but modules here. We don't take, say, 1 week development. Don't say we'll take 100 requirements we develop. No, highly impossible. Few will take very less requirements. And then once we take that first priority from this product backlog, every day we have one meeting. That meeting is called daily Scrum meeting. While developing, every day you must attend that meeting. What is that? I'll tell you. And before we deliver to customer, before we deliver the product to customer, or we say from today's sprint, before we deliver the sprint to customer, we have one more meeting, sprint review meeting. What is happening in that? I'll tell you. After completion of sprint review, once they're approving it, everything, then we are going to release the product to customer. And before going for second sprint, last meeting we have retrospective meeting. What is this retrospective meeting means? Nothing but it is a process improvement. They'll call upon everybody to a meeting and they'll ask us to note down what are the mistakes we did, what went wrong, what went well. Your owners will come and explain you what the mistakes are done and how to overcome that mistakes in the coming sprints. So that's what, see, it's a simple life cycle. Continuously we follow it. Again, we go for product backlog. We'll take second priority and we convert to sprint. In this meeting, we'll conduct this meeting and we'll discuss about that and so on. So happen. This is what happens in Scrum. A simple, very simple process. That's what I written each and every step here for that Scrum. It's like a rugby game because whatever rules we are following in Scrum, we follow rules and regulations that are followed in rugby game. A Scrum is a subset of Agile, and Scrum terms used in rugby, which means a huddled bunch of players engage with each other to get job done. You also, when you're working in Agile companies, you should work all together. You should work all together. This is how the way you can reach your targets. Otherwise, it's very difficult. We have very less time. Don't expect they'll be giving morning to evening. Will they play from morning to evening? No. 1 hour, 1.5 hour game. Who are getting more goals, they're the winners. Same way, whatever rules we have in rugby, the same rules are followed in the Scrum also at the same time. Here, see, as I said, 3 roles are very important. Product owner, Scrum master, Scrum team. Who is this product owner? Many people are confusing. Product owner means they're telling is the owner of the product. No, he is not owner of the product. Meaning is like that. Who is that product owner? Who is Scrum master? Who is Scrum team? Yes, see that. Product owner. This fellow, product owner, he will gather inputs from executive members, from team members, stakeholders. Stakeholders means from customers, who are investing on it, customers, users, and he will prioritize them in a product backlog. He will prioritize all of them. Means collection of stories are gathered. And he prioritized. Prioritize means which is to be done first, which should be done next. Everything is defined here very clearly. See, what is product owner means? He or she works as voice of the client. He's like a business analyst here in SDLC. He's not owner of product, don't think. He or she has a final authority for deciding the stories. He will decide the stories, what have to be done, what not to be done. This person owns the product backlog and writes stories. We call epics, and users here we call epics. Stories means what? Don't confuse. Story means requirements. Epics means nothing but functionalities. Then prioritized by him and he decides the release date also. He is responsible for developing and maintaining the feature of sprint. He is responsible for developing and maintaining the feature of the sprint. Product backlog is nothing but is a priority list of user requirements to be done in order to create, maintain and sustain a product. Means collection of stories. That is a owner, product owner means is responsible. Scrum master. Managers in SDLCs we call managers, here we call masters. Scrum master should coordinate the whole Scrum process and team. His another task is to make sure that Scrum is used in a proper way. He also holds Scrum meetings. He is a facilitator and servant leader who encourages and demands self-organizing from development team. He always, you don't think that he'll come and assign tasks to you guys. Now, in SDLC, leader will come and assign tasks to you. You are lead with the leader in SDLC. But in Agile Scrum, you don't want any leader. You are everything. If you join as Agile, you are leader, you are master, you are everything. But he is going to encourage you. If you don't have any Scrum practices, he will help you. He will explain you also. And also he'll protect the team from external and internal distractions also. Anything happens in the project, he will take care of you. And he removes impediments to the team so the team can focus on work at hand and follow Scrum projects. Impediments in the sense unnecessary fellows. No excuses here. No excuses. On this spot you can get out. No problem. He's not typically a manager. Is that he's not typically a manager or lead, but he's a influencer, leader, and coach who does not do direct command and control. You don't come and handle you guys. Don't worry. You don't say, hey, do this work, do that work. That's what I'm telling you. Cricket game, they have to go according to captain. Only one fellow will run when ball comes. But rugby game, don't wait for ball. You go to ball. They have to keep on roaming. They have to go to the ball. They have to run for that ball. The whole team, the both teams, they have to fight each other. Coordination is important there. Collaboration is important. Communication is important. Then only they can reach the targets. That's what happens in Scrum Master also will be doing. But whereas Scrum team, who is that Scrum team? Here we don't have, remember, we don't have any separate testing phase in Scrum. No testing phase in Agile. Like SDLC, we have testing phase. But see that. People who do work and develop the product. Developers and testers. Works collaboratively and share responsibilities among each other. When you're assigned to one project, you guys, whoever selected for that project, sit together, all of you, sit together, divide task among yourself. Don't look for somebody. Divide task among yourself and work on it. No problem. Share yourself and keep on working. And the responsible for designing, implementing, and fixing the bugs of the product. In Scrum framework, it is not differentiated between tester and developer. They all share the same title called Scrum team members. We don't have separate phase here. So size of the Scrum team in Agile, especially in Scrum, it can be 7 plus or minus 2 people. We don't take as many people. It can be 7 plus or minus 2. If there are more people, the communication overheads. They know very well. And too large, and the team should be split into multiple Scrum teams. They'll split out automatically. This Scrum team should be coordinate and communicate with each other, but otherwise work independently. So always work on your own. Should make that habit. As an Agile tester or Agile Scrum Master or whoever you are, developer or tester or leader or whoever you are, you should make that habit. Working independently. Don't depend on anybody. So that's what happens here. Here, as I said, the points is that how Scrum works. The first point, the product owner develops particular set of features for each sprint, which is defined in product backlog. See that is defining the set of features, is gathering the stories, setting us what to do and all. Second step, the team selects the top features from the product backlog, which they will deliver at the end of a sprint. Yes, from this product backlog, you are selecting top priorities. Top priority is first priority, and we are converting into sprint. Third step, after agreeing to do a particular feature, the feature is broken into smaller tasks, which is developed by product owner, found in sprint backlog. See that the very first meeting, sprint planning meeting. In this sprint planning meeting, what happens? Your owner, product owner, will call upon all developers and testers to a conference room, and he will tell us, hey, these are the stories we have for this current sprint. He'll give the deadlines. Whether to work in 1 week or 2 weeks, he'll give us. You have to agree for that. Is it possible or not possible? You have to give the estimation to your owner. If you're agreeing, then we have to go accordingly. That is third step. Fourth step, then the sprint starts. During the sprint, there is so-called daily meeting, daily Scrum meeting, stand-up meeting also we call, where the team members provide their task status and discuss the problem related to a task. In this daily meeting, Scrum Master is responsible for solving the problem. See, once we start that sprint, daily we have to attend that meeting. Everybody should be there, compulsory. And you update your tasks and tell us what you've done. Fifth step, after completion of the sprint, the feature is presented to the product owner for the approval, and the review is given to team related to features in sprint review meeting. The last meeting, see that sprint review meeting, before we deliver to market, we have to give some presentation to owner, product owner, not that owner, product owner. Remember, owner means, don't confuse. Product owner means the fellow who is gather requirements. Give presentation to him. He will check it out. He know very well. He is the right person who is knowing more about your customer requirements, right? He should approve it. If you feel that you have done everything correctly, then he will approve it. And finally, after completion of sprint, the feature is presented to the product owner, so on. So last step. Finally, in retrospective meeting, the team, Scrum Master, and product owner discuss improvement in overall process. This is the last meeting I told you. Retrospective meeting. Before we go for second sprint, they have to discuss about all this. And they have to think about the future. I mean, how to improve process still, any mistakes are done, how to overcome that mistake, all this. So after agreeing to particular feature, the feature is broken into smaller tasks, which is developed by product owner, found in particular. Again, we go for product backlog, sprint backlog, and we continue the process. So that's what happens. That's what I'm telling you again. Sprint planning meeting. So that sprint planning meeting means we are collecting topmost priorities, right? The sprint iteration, or we call iteration also, sprint or iteration planning meeting is the first meeting to kick off the sprint. Kick off the means to start the sprint. In Scrum, the sprint planning meeting is attended by the product owner, Scrum Master, and entire Scrum team. Outside stakeholders may attend by invitation of the team. Although this is rare in most companies. Anybody can attend, no problem. They'll explain what to do and all. During the sprint planning meeting, the product owner describes highest priority features to the team. And iteration or sprint lengths typically range between 1 to 4 weeks. You don't take more than 4 weeks. He'll decide, he'll tell you in how many days, in how many weeks we need to work. That's what happens sprint planning meeting. And once we complete sprint planning meeting, here see that stories. What is the user stories means? User stories are user requirements in the plain customer language without including too many details. Don't expect like SRS in SDLC here. SRS contains some hundreds of pages. They're explaining in detail each and every step, right? But here, don't expect. Simple English in a simple example. Story 1. As a user, I want to sign up so that I can use software. That's my story. That's one story. So that what are my customer conditions for that? Validate the email. So we have to write test case for that. Verify email is not duplicate. We have checked. So well-formed passport tips. Show the privacy policy. Like another user story, it will be creating by the CURD. We call CURD. Create, read, update, delete. CURD means create, read, update, delete functionality. Permission to capture second email. Private questions and answers. That means if you describe one story, customer will give his conditions. Based on that, we have to go on writing test case and developer will go on developing it. So based on user stories only, we write test case here in Agile. Remember all of you. Whereas in SDLC, if anyone asking you, we write test case based on what? Use cases. There we follow use cases. Here we follow user stories. That we'll see how once we go into that. Scrum meeting. What is Scrum meeting? In Scrum, on each day of a sprint, the team holds daily Scrum meeting called daily Scrum or stand-up meetings. Meetings are typically held in the same location at the same time each day. Every day before you start. Suppose your office time is 10 o'clock morning. Come to office. Before you start your sprint, go to conference room where you are doing that meeting every day and just attend that meeting. This is only for 15 minutes. We don't spend like 1 hour, 2 hours here there. 15, strictly we follow 15 minutes. Here, each team members have 3 questions from your master. They'll ask you, what did you do yesterday? What will you do today? Are there any impediments in your way? Impediments in the sense, any problems you're facing. They question you. Or in real scenarios, if you go in real scenarios, the meeting daily Scrum meeting, it will be like this. Go to conference room, take a sticky note. See that the people what they're doing, they're taking the sticky notes. Write your answers and stick it and leave. Don't waste your time there. Not like SDLs, simply sitting in a conference room, hours together speaking to people without any useful things, right? Unnecessary things to keep on. No. Take a sticky note. They'll give sticky notes to you. Write your questions. Any questions you have, anything, what the questions they ask you, answer them and stick it and leave it. Your master, owner may come to this conference and look onto your issues also. We don't want to waste our time. We have very less time. So that's what that meeting, Scrum meeting is very, daily Scrum meeting is very important for us. Next, sprint review meeting. In this Scrum, each sprint is required to deliver a potentially shippable product. Potentially means what? Defect free, meaning. This means that end of each sprint, the team has produced a coded, tested, and useful piece of software. So, at end of each sprint, a sprint review meeting is held. Participants in sprint review typically includes Scrum, product owner, Scrum team, and Scrum master. These fellows will participate. Look at here, how they are doing. We don't want to spend much time here. We spend very less time here. How they are giving review meetings during sprint review meeting means just they'll ask you questions. Just give some presentation to people. They'll check whether you met their expectations or not. Whatever conditions they gave you during sprint planning meeting, they gave all conditions to you, right? What to develop and all. They'll check it out. They'll overview on it. Because see, after releasing to market, no use. Let us confirm here itself in the company. Any problem, any issues on that, we can rectify them. The people, you give presentation to them, they'll question you, or if everything is fine, good, no problem. It's about, we don't go for 1 day, 2 days here, like 1 or 2 hours, half an hour time, we'll give some presentation to them. That's what happens in sprint review meeting also. And last meeting is what? Sprint retrospective meeting. The sprint retrospective is usually last thing done in a sprint. The entire team, including both Scrum Master, product owner, should participate. The retrospective includes 3 main questions, points for discussion, like what went well during sprint life cycle, what went wrong during sprint cycle, what could be differently to improve. It is like process improvement. Encouragement will be given. The fellows who are doing a good job, the fellows who are doing mistakes, they'll rectify them. They'll ask us to rectify them. They'll ask us not to repeat the same mistakes in the upcoming sprints. It's nothing but 1, 2 sprint. If you work on, you will get clarity in your companies. So that's what happens in the sprint review retrospective meeting also. And it works simply. The Scrum works like this. It's a simple process, which I discuss all the points. Product owner will take all inputs from executive members, stakeholders, customers, so and so, and he'll prioritize all of them in a process called product backlog, collection of all stories, and he'll prioritize all of them. And from this product backlog, the Scrum team will select the topmost priorities, and they'll give commitments also when to release it. And once you are giving commitments, you break down the tasks according to members. You break the tasks in a sprint backlog. And here, sprint end date and team deliverable do not change. That is very important. Sprint end date and team deliverables do not change. No question of changing. Every 1 week to 4 weeks, we'll plan it. And daily, 24 hours means what? Daily. You attended daily Scrum meeting, which is conducted by your master. He'll be controlling all the team. And before we finish the work, we have to review. We have to give some presentation to your owners or to anybody can attend that meeting, no problem. If they're okay with that, then we are going to finish the work and release the product to customer. And again, lastly, we go for sprint retrospective meeting, and we'll have a discussion on improvement and what things gone wrong, what things went, and all that discussion will happen. Again, we'll come back to product backlog and we'll turn up second sprint. This is a cyclic process. It goes on following cycle. It's a simple process, very simple. That's what easy to manage, easy to understand. That's what every customers want to be in a state. I mean, it's very transparency will be there in agile. A lot of transparency will be there. See, agile, it goes like this. See, we'll plan. Let's see. R plus A. All of you know what is R plus A? Requirements and analysis. Requirement analysis. First sprint we start. R plus A. Requirement analysis. Design, coding, testing, delivery, and say waterfalls, one sprint. It goes on second sprint, third sprint, fourth sprint, fifth. It goes on like that. It goes on until we reach all its requirements. That's what. Here, the burn down charts will be there for you. Burn down charts. Chart means charts will give a proof for the people to understand where we are, right? See, product burn down chart, a graph. It's like a graph. A graph which shows how many product backlogs, items, user stories implemented, not implemented. If you look at that graph, we can understand how many of them are done, how many of them are not implemented. Sprint burn down chart. This graph shows how many sprints implemented so far and still how many not implemented by Scrum team. Release burn down chart. We have releases also, right? It shows list of releases still pending, which team have been already planned. How many of them are released, still releases are pending, they'll shows. Defect burn down chart. A graph which shows how many defects are identified and fixed. Right? So for everything we have a chart, graphs. So this charts, burn down charts provides proof and proof that the project is on right track or not. This charts will be installed in every system here. Before leaving office, you can look at the chart whether it will tell you whether to leave office or not to leave office, because it shows very clearly hours, how many hours you work per day. Okay, it shows how many hours, but simply sitting in front of system, it won't calculate. You should work on your project. They don't need to calculate. So it's have more transparency we have when we compare to SDLCs also at the same time. And look at that, like what are the advantage we have with this agile scrum means each and every sprint will be tested multiple times by the testing team and client, so we ensure quality. Good. All phases in SDLC lifecycle are performed parallelly, so we can save time and cost. Same as SDLC only, but the process is changing. The requirement changes can be expected at any stage of the project, even after delivery of the sprint also. One of the very good advantages we have. We can maintain transparency of the project. The client will also participate in Scrum meeting, so we get information very quickly. That's one of the good advantages. Every day they'll participate in meetings here. Each and every sprint is delivered to clients, so we don't have any risk. We can gain the customer satisfaction by delivering all sprint to the clients. Sprints can also be called iterative process or incremental models. Risks can be identified at early stages and it can be prevented also. Testing will be very simple. Why? Because see, testing very big project is different here. Testing small requirements is different. We are not testing all requirements at a time. Of course, disadvantage also. Disadvantage means maintaining all sprint related information is very challenging task. Right? But we can overcome with the help of some management tools like Jira, Quality Center, lot of tools we have, TestLink. That's what we have to, at least you have to learn one tool here, management tool. Even though you're going for manual testing, you should learn one tool, manual test. And that's what we learned Jira tool, how to use Jira and all that. So that is the main purpose of this. That difference between, I hope now you got the difference between Agile and SDLC. So both are used for what? Used for what? Developing software only. Both are used for developing, but that is different process. This is different process. According to clients, we'll choose which is the best way to implement. Am I clear to all of you guys?
Yes, sir.
Is it clear to all of you? Any questions you have?
No, sir.
Right?
No.
So that from tomorrow we'll start our techniques. We'll start one by one techniques, black box, white box, and then we'll go a lot of things. We'll go ahead with a lot of things. Okay, guys?
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay,
Today definitely get the documents, all of you guys. Okay, don't worry. Okay, na?
okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye, sir.